Are you curious what actually makes a great Instagram reel? You know, the ones that end up going viral, end up gaining a lot of followers, end up getting a lot of likes and comments and engagement. Have you ever wondered how in the world do you get a reel to do that? Recently on my Instagram with Instagram Reels, I've had several reels go semi-viral with thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of views, and I've gained over 1,500 followers in a month, and these are actually real people, real followers, real engaged followers that absolutely love me and my content. And so in this video, I'm gonna share 6 different things that has allowed those reels to go semi-viral, allowed me to gain those followers, and what has actually done that for me. Okay, so the first thing we really need to talk about when it comes to having reels that can go viral is you really gotta hook them. You got to hook them. You got to get people's attention. People have such short attention spans nowadays, especially when it comes to social media and just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. People need you to immediately hook them and know why they should stop their scroll and watch your reel. So I've done this in a lot of different ways, but one of the best ways you can do this is literally call out who your reel is for. So for example, I serve a lot of photographers. I attract a lot of photographers. I help a lot of photographers in their businesses and helping them to grow. And so I have reels where literally at the beginning, I'm saying, hey, wedding photographer, stop right now. Or I'm saying, hey, photographer, or something along those lines that gets them to, catches their eye and gets them to stop their scroll. And something that I want to also add in here, not that you have to do this, but I think something that can be really helpful is having an eye-catching color. So not saying you have to go anything crazy with this, but if you're able to do a brighter, bolder color for that text, for the background of that text, it's really gonna help people to it's really gonna help catch people's eye and for them to actually stop and to engage with your reel. Besides saying exactly who your reel is for, another thing you can do is make a really bold statement right up front. And this really helps to stop people in their tracks for them to think, whoa, like why is she saying that? Why is he saying that? Or why are they making that statement? So for example, I have done a reel before that basically at the very beginning, it says things I do that aren't normal as a photographer. And that gets people to think, wait, what? Like, what does she do that isn't normal for photographers to do? And it wants them to engage with my reel and to stop their scroll and to literally look and see what I'm going to give them. Another way you can catch people's attention is tell them immediately what the reel is going to be all about. So for example, I have some reels where I'm giving a posing tip or something along those lines. And I literally have it in super big text that says 3 poses for this, or how to pose with your significant other, or something along those lines that gets people to stop and think, oh, like I want to know that, and it gets them to actually watch your reel and to stop their scroll. Also, can we talk about this mug? I kiss better than I cook, because it's the truth. All right, so when we talk about reels and we talk about creating a reel that not only gets seen by a lot of people, but a lot of people actually like it, actually engage with it, actually want to follow you, I think something that's really important to keep in mind is you need to show up as you. You need to show your face. You need to put your face on camera. You need to show yourself working. You need to show yourself behind the scenes of you creating your content. Like whatever it is that you do, you need to be willing to show up and put yourself in front of the camera. And I know that can be really daunting for so many people. I know that can be really challenging, but trust me, one of the best pieces of advice that I have here is that the more you do it, the easier that it gets. I mean, even for me, go back and look at my first YouTube video.
Decided to have a different way and for you guys to be able to just to hear me talk.
It's pretty cringy, but after doing YouTube for a couple of years now, it's gotten to the point where I feel really comfortable on camera. I feel really comfortable showing up and chatting with you guys like this. And so the more that you do it, the more that you put yourself in front of the camera, the more that you push yourself to do that, the easier it's going to get. Trust me, I know from experience. I used to not show up and I used to hate being in front of the camera, but trust me, it gets so much easier the more you do it. And the payout and the reward on being able to show up and show your face is so key. So just think about the fact that, you know, people love to see us, hear our voices. They love to hear us talk. They like to have the eye-to-eye contact, even if it is on a screen. And so figuring out how you can do that within your reels really helps people to not only to stop them, not only to want to watch your reel, but also to feel connected to you. That's going to end up in you actually gaining followers from those reels because they're going to feel connected to you as a person and want to keep following along. Another thing that we've got to talk about when it comes to Instagram Reels is making sure that your Reels, they're giving value, whether that's making someone's day better, whether that's giving them tips and tricks, whether that's just something that's going to make their life better, something where you're teaching them something where you're giving them tips, something where you're showing them a process. People love to see a behind the scenes look at what you're doing. They love to see tips for how you got to where you are. And so if you're able to incorporate that into your Reels, it's a game changer. It literally helps you so much. And something that I want to add in here is that consistency is so important. And I know we know this when it comes to things like blogging and YouTube, but it also applies to Reels. Instagram's going to reward you for consistently showing up and sharing Reels. And I'll be honest, the first couple of weeks that I shared Reels every single day, I didn't see a ton of views or a ton of interaction. I think I had maybe double the amount of views on my first Reel that I'd get on a normal Instagram post. I was like, oh, like that's pretty cool. But as far as engagement and stuff, it wasn't anything crazy. But after I kept posting and showing up for a couple of weeks, 1 to 2 times per day, that's when I started to see a lot of growth and a lot of my Reels taking off. So if you're trying out some of these things, if you're giving value, if you're giving tips and you're like, Stephanie, like it's not working, keep on going. You have to show up. You have to keep going and be consistent in order to see it pay off. Anyway, bottom line to both of those points really is making sure too that the tips that you're giving, the value that you're getting, the way that you're showing up, that it's in a way that's going to attract your ideal client, especially if you're a small business owner, if you're a content creator, if you're a YouTuber, this still applies to you. You're a business owner, and really thinking about who are the people you want to attract to your brand. How do you help people? How do you serve people? How do you show up in the world? How do you give them helpful content? Thinking about how you can take the things that you know and put it into a 15 or 30-second video and how you can attract people, because once people stumble upon your account through a Reel, what's really going to want them to follow you, want to convert them into a follower, is if your content in general relates to those topics and they can learn more from you because they are your ideal client. Okay, and then another tip when it comes to creating Reels that have a potential to go viral, have a potential to be seen by a lot of people and get a lot of engagement, is see how you can tell a story. And this is kind of the last tip that I have as far as like what kind of Reels to create. And then we're going to jump into some of the more practical things you can do within that to actually make your Reels really eye-catching, and people are going to want to keep watching them and engage with you and follow your account. But for this, I really want you guys to think about how can you make your Reels super great in the sense of telling a story, whether it's the story of your client, a transformation that you've provided for your client, whether it is how you show up and how you have been able to grow your business, have been able to grow your brand, how you did something. You know, how can you tell a story? People love to relate through stories. People are really engaged with storytelling, right? And think about how you can incorporate that in the way that you're creating Reels for your Instagram. I feel like this spot reflects in my glasses, but you know what? We're gonna go for it because I like my plant, I like my couch. The next thing that we're going to dive into is how do you actually, so you're creating Reels that give value, you're creating Reels that tell stories, you're creating Reels with your face in them, but how do you actually keep it interesting, right? How do you keep it to where people are going to stay on your Reel and to be super engaged with it? Because Instagram is looking at how many times people rewatch your Reel, they're looking at how long they're watching it in the first place, they're looking at whether they like it or comment on it or share it or all of that stuff. So the first thing I have to say here is make sure that you keep it interesting by keeping it fast-paced. Don't keep a bunch of text on the screen for too long. Don't give people the full 10 seconds to read one sentence. Give them maybe 3, maybe 4 seconds to read a block of text before you replace it with a new block of text. I do this very strategically in my Reels because I want people to either keep watching it because there's constantly new things popping up on the screen and they're engaged with it, or maybe they weren't able to read all of the text and they have to rewatch it again in order to see the text. So it's kind of a sneaky way to get them to rewatch it and to help boost your Reel in the algorithm. And the same concept can really be applied to how long you're keeping different photos on a screen, different videos on a screen, how long it's taking you to go from point A to point B. Keep it fast and interesting. People don't want to sit around forever figuring out what this point is, or maybe they have plenty of time to read the one sentence that you have on your Reel, and then they're just sitting there for another 10 seconds waiting for the next one to pop up. So you want it to be super fast paced. But again, remember, people's attention spans are so so short nowadays, especially on Instagram, because they're used to just scrolling and to just going super quickly through their feed. They don't want to sit there and wait for the next thing for 10 seconds. So make sure you're giving them the information that you promised really quickly. You're telling the story really quickly and making sure you're keeping your reel fast paced. And then one other thing that I want to mention here too, because it's just so important, is make sure you have a call to action. Make sure you have a clear and direct, clear and direct action for people to do. So what I mean by this is in the caption, make it very clear what you want people to do. At the end of your reel, you can even add in saying, this is what I want you to do. I want you to save this reel. I want you to follow me for more tips. Telling people exactly what they can do. Give them a call to action. And I think we know to do this with Instagram captions. We've been told this over and over again, but make sure you're also doing this with your reels, whether you're adding text at the very end of a video. I'll put an example right here of how I added text at the very end of an Instagram reel, asking people to follow my account if they want more tips like what was in that reel. So it really helps to grow your audience. You can also ask people to save the reel and also to remember it for later. You can ask people to like the reel. You can ask people to check out your account for more reels like that, and then hopefully that will lead them to follow. Make sure you're giving a call to action. I've also added questions for my reel, so whether it's in the description of the reel, whether it's at the end of the reel, giving them questions that they can answer in the comments and help to engage with my account has also been very great way to increase engagement on my reels. And when you add this piece in, when you add a call to action to your reels, that's going to help people to not only watch the reel, not only engage with it, but it's how you're going to grow your following, right? Especially if you're asking people to follow you if they want more tips like they saw in that reel. It's going to help you to grow your brand if you're adding those call to actions instead of just leaving people wondering what to do at the end of the reel. So make sure you have a very clear call to action at the end of all of your reels. If you want an Instagram Reels tutorial on how I'm making these things, go ahead and check it out right here. It's a fun behind the scenes of me creating a few different reels, and you can see from start to finish how I'm actually creating these and implementing these different tips. And I also have a free gift for you guys. It's an Instagram Reels cover photo template. So if you're wondering how I make my cover photos and how I push them to my feed and still make them look good, I got you covered. So the link for that will be in the description. It's totally free to download. And of course, hit subscribe on my channel because I upload new videos every Tuesday and Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. And I don't want you guys to miss any of them and want you to stay up to date on all of the new Instagram marketing strategies and small business tips for you guys. And can't wait to share more with you guys in the next video. Bye guys.